Welcome to today's episode, everyone. For those of you just joining in on the podcast, my name is Marvin Fuentes, and I am the founder of Fountain AI. We help businesses operate smaller and scale with purpose. Today, I am joined by Jason Walker, everyone. Jason, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
They call me J-Dub Moneymaker is what they call me in the industry, but I've been doing HVAC for over 15 years. I had the opportunity to start indoor air quality, go service, install, selling HVAC, and I started a podcast, HVAC Masters of the Hustle, about 6 years ago. It went from my mom, dad, brothers, sisters, aunts, cousins, only listening to it to all of a sudden someone reaching out saying, "Hey, I like your shit." And I was like, whoa, pretty cool, right? So I ended up doing an on-site with them, which allowed me to be a national trainer. If y'all don't know me, I would say I'm probably one of the top national trainers out there within the trades of HVAC and plumbing and trades in general. But I'm really hyper focused on changing the game, making it sexy to the younger generation and showing people what's possible. So that's a little bit of myself in a nutshell.
Let's zoom out a little bit. What year did you start the podcast?
I started the podcast. Let's see, it's been 6 years. So 2019, probably 2018 going into 2019.
Okay. And then now, what would you say you're in now? The training space, the consulting space, a little bit of both? What would you call it?
I would say consulting and training because while I'm there, right, I'm training the team, but then I'm also consulting with the business owner and building a roadmap and depends on really what the owner's trying to get out of it as well. All owners are different, right? Some people want to sell their system or their company. What does acquisitions look like? How do I set it up? Or some people are long haul and say, "Hey, I want to set this up for my kids." So we have generations of wealth. So we have generation, generation, generation. And so it's really, hey, what is it that you're looking for? So we could go in there and dissect. But I would say training for the employees, but then also, like you were saying, for the business owners as well, consulting.
Nice. And how many years of experience did you have in HVAC before you started the podcast?
15 years prior. So I've been in the game for 15 years now. So at the time of the HVAC, 11 years I was into it when I started the podcasting.
Got it. And how did you start off initially?
In the HVAC game or
Yeah,
podcasting?
HVAC game.
So I was laid off from the budget cut. I was prior law enforcement out here in the state of California, and I was laid off from the budget cut back in '09. And so I was testing through another agency in Southern California. I live in Northern California, and it's about an 8 hour move. And so my wife now at the time, we were just in the beginning of our ventures of dating, and I don't think her dad wanted to see her move away. Daddy's little girl, you know. So he was the operations manager at a HVAC company, and they were starting their indoor air quality department. And so after just being laid off, he thought it would be a good idea, hey, he's about to take my little girl to Southern California, 8 hours away, and we have this opportunity here, and let's see if he'll run with it. So I ended up taking the leap of faith, and I said, you know what, let's see what this could lead to. And when I started off as a duct cleaner, right, it wasn't like the department or division was built. I was doing maybe one or two duct cleanings a week, maybe. Okay. But fast forward 6 months into it, now I'm doing two a day and we're booked out 5 days, 10 days, right? So I saw growth opportunity and being able to be a part of that. I knew that there was a lot of potential. And so that's when I made the decision, okay, and there's defining moments within our life. And this is one of those defining moments where I said, okay, you know what? There's opportunity. I see where I could potentially go. And I just got laid off from law enforcement. Law enforcement didn't look good at the time in '09. And so I said, let's go ahead and take this different trades and make this a career. So then I went into service, started with service after that, growing the department, learned how these systems communicated with installs because I did installs a little bit as well. Really got to learn how to sell HVAC systems where I really created a good name for myself in the industry probably about 8, 9 years ago, where I was selling systems over $4 million. I had an average ticket of tech turnovers were closed at 72%. Marketed calls were closed at 67% with the average ticket of 19,500. So now going to Marvin, these, training events, being a sponge, right? Being a student every quarter. Now business owners are hearing the numbers that I'm doing, and there's a want and there's a need. So that's when I went back to the playing field, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, and I said, man, how can I reach more people? And then that's when the podcast was born, HVAC Masters of the Hustle. And then just like I said with you, consistency with what you do in life is very important. And it's not that I do anything special compared to other podcasters in our space, but one thing that I do that's very different is I see a lot of podcasters drop off, right? I'm very consistent. So I have, a lot of listeners all across, not the nation, but the world. Okay. That every single Monday for the last 6 years, they know that my podcast drops. So between life challenges, obstacles, for those of you that don't know my story, I was very open and transparent with it. And this is why I say it. I lost my daughter of 6 months old last year, and life didn't stop. I still had to keep the momentum going. I still had to fulfill the promises of the on-site trainings. Bills still start coming in, right? So it's either, I always tell everyone, there's there's decisions that you have to make. And so those decisions of why people stop podcasting or stop business, right? It really falls on you and your mindset. And so that's what I really did was I took the podcast and I said, "Hey, when I start this, I want to be consistent with what I'm doing." And then all of a sudden consistency turned into a listening and a stage. And then it's like, man, you can't let all those people down that are listening.
On the subject of mindset, did you always have these mindset skills? Were those always there?
It's more of the mindset of growth. To answer your question, no, I've haven't always had this mindset. I would say I'm 37 years old right now. I would say the mindset shift started when I started selling HVAC. And then I got confidence because before that, I was living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm very transparent about this. A lot of people I train also live paycheck to paycheck. And living paycheck to paycheck, I also lived over my means, which I had a truck that was repoed twice. And the second time it was repoed was in my work parking lot. So I talk about embarrassment, bringing all your trash to work. It's all unfolding, right? So to let I had to understand first off growth, that you always got to be a student, right? You can't allow your ego to be your amigo, what Uncle Joe Crisera says a lot of the time. And so just having that mindset shift, but then also holding yourself also to habits, right? So we have a lot of window time in the trades. What are you feeding yourself in the window times? What habits are you creating in your morning routines? What are you feeding yourself throughout the day? Positivity, right? What are you watching on TV? All that thing feeds into the outcome of your day as well. Writing down your goals, right? Manifesting on your goals, making goal boards, vision boards, keeping that stuff in front of you. Those are things that I didn't do 15 years ago. But as I started to see what was possible and dreaming really big and starting to see all these things unfold, that's when I started to more of self growth, self reflection, and things like that.
There's someone fresh out of school wanting to get into the HVAC space to sell. And looking back, what was probably the biggest mindset shift for you that you would tell them to take with them?
What are you willing to sacrifice today to live the life you want to tomorrow? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people aren't willing to sacrifice, right? And I always tell everyone it's not all about getting home at 5 o'clock. I know that we all have kids and families and things like that, but that might be the sacrifice that you have to give up maybe for a year or two, but understand that it's not forever. And understand that what are you willing to sacrifice today to live the life that you want to tomorrow? So that's what I would tell someone that's coming into the trades, but then also tell them it's not easy, right? It's a roller coaster ride. The trades of HVAC is weather driven. So you have to be really good at creating relationships, really good at asking open-ended questions. But the biggest thing that I would also say to someone that's green that's coming in is don't get so tunnel vision on the scope of why you're out there or the business that brings you out there, but hyper focus on relationship before business because people remember the way that you make them feel, not what you say.
Looking back, what was the biggest pivot point for you?
Believing in yourself. There's a lot of naysayers, a lot of people on social media that wish for people to fail, right? Being able to believe in yourself, not the self doubt or anything, and self confidence is something that I think is something that's important. Self belief and understand that, hey, one thing that I say on all my podcasts that I've ever started, I have 320 episodes. I believe we all have a Spartan inside of us. It's my job, my duty, and my obligation to bring that beast out, right? I believe that we all have this inner beast inside of us. We just got to pull it out, right? We got to understand. And Ed Milet, I had the opportunity to speak with him on stage. He talks about being the one, right? Everyone, when you look at someone successful, there was the one. He might have been the one, someone else might have been the one, but there was the one. And if you're going through those life challenges right now where you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're behind on all your bills and you're stressed, right? And you're strapped, and oh my God, the holiday seasons are coming, just know you could change the trajectory of you and your family. You could be the one. And I'm a big, big believer of you could be the one, but you got to also be a good human, right? You got to be a person that's willing to understand what that person or that client in front of you, what their wants and their needs are. Like I said, running a process, but also delivering the best customer experience possible. Because I believe that when you deliver great customer experience and great customer experience or customer service, that's when they start paying also high dollar, right? There's a reason why people are okay spending thousands of dollars on Disneyland, right? It's because why? The experience that they get.
What experience do your customers get?
Great question. So, talking about my company of HVAC, Royalty Heating and Air, we're white glove service. So, I'm very transparent. My team's very transparent. We're probably the most expensive company around. We don't want to be the cheapest. We don't want to be in the middle. And the reason why is because we offer prestige white glove service. And if y'all know me or see me, usually I'm decked out. I got gold jewelry all over. I got Rolexes because I like nice shit. I got a nice sports car outside. I like nice stuff. And the reason why is because the experience that you get with it. And so when you hyper focused on the customer relationship and the white glove service, a lot of times technicians go into homes and we're strangers. Okay. And the first thing they do is they walk up to the thermostat, they turn the thermostat on for the home, or they have the homeowner turn the thermostat on to verify that it works. And then they start breaking into their house or not walking into their domain or their personal space, right? Checking all the rooms and the CFM and different airflow and going up to the attic to go up through the master bedroom, through the closet to get attic access. How would you feel as an individual, right? So what I do is, hey, let's start at the table because where do people do business? At the table. And where you start is what? Where you finish. Okay. Also, anytime where the biggest complaints in the HVAC for installers and service technicians is, hey, you guys did a great job, but when your guys were out here taking down my registers or taking my attic access, there's fingerprints everywhere. So my team, we're hyper focused on wearing white gloves. Also, when we install the thermostat, it's all white gloves. Something that we do different, companies do tarps, they use tarps, drop cloths, they wear floor savers. We do all that, but we also put a liner of zip walls. So we make sure that if we're in the closet of the master bedroom, they have a zip wall all the way around their clothes, and then it's a hallway that goes out. And it's like something that you would see in the medical field, right? So the visual for the homeowner is like, holy shit. Like it's something you'd see in the ET movie, right? So it's all these cool different things. Also, we do private labeling. So everything that we do is private labeled on our condensers. We make these in-house. We use a 3D printer and we 3D print all of our clips, and we can make them for every single manufacturer out there. But then also we look at our installs like a piece of art. And so when you line up 10 installs in our market, to be real, they all look the same. Okay. All the good installs, right? So what do we do to separate ourselves? We private label, but then we also, because other people private label, we put LED lights on all of our installs. So if it's a closet unit, right? When they open up the closet, it's all bubble wrapped on the inside, and then there's LED lights behind the unit so it pops. When we do attic unit, same thing. We'll bubble wrap the catwalk, and then we'll use nice LED lights all around the catwalk. It's to be different. It's looking at your install as a piece of art. So if we end up losing that client in the future, right, or they sell the home or someone else takes over that membership, they know, wow, that's a royalty install. They go to the install and they go, oh, it's the lights, it's royalty, right? That's the statement that I want to make is we're different. This is what we do. And again, we're not the cheapest, but the results that you get with us, there's a reason why we're 5 stars and everything. Just to let everyone know, Royalty Heating and Air, uh, this was a project that I wanted to showcase after my daughter passed away last year because I'm on the roads as much as I am. I wanted to create something special to keep me here more home with my 2 boys. My oldest one's 9, my youngest one's 5. And again, my wife and I, we've been together for 15 years. So I started Royalty Heating and Air June of 2024. So our first 7 months or 8 months of the calendar year last year, we did 1.2 million. This year, we're tracking to do 2.2 million at 18% EBITDA, so net profit. So we also have 14 employees within a year of being in business. And also, this is with me traveling as much as I am, right? So I'm showcasing what's possible, but something that I'm really, really excited about and proud of my team is our Google business account got approved 6 months ago. Okay. Marvin, in 6 months, what would you say a good number would be for 5 star reviews, but how many Google reviews?
I'd say 6 months.
Months.
I would say 30 is a good amount.
30. We
There's
have
a serious reputable amount, yeah.
210.
Oh shit.
210 5 star reviews in 6 months. Why? Because we give a shit, right? And it's not all like we fuck up. I'll show your listeners this. Let's see. Boom. If you guys could see that, it's going to focus. What did we do? We fell through a ceiling last week. Okay. What this talks about is our team coming into action. I had a drywall guy en route the second that I found out. Not only that, because we didn't destroy her kingdom, right? But it wasn't as clean as when we walked in. So, as a business owner, what did I do? I ended up reaching out to her, tackled the issue, took ownership. But then I said, hey, tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay for a professional cleaning company to clean your kingdom. Not just the living room where it got all messed up, but your whole entire house, your toilets, your bathroom. They're going to do a deep cleaning inside and out. Do you know how proud and ecstatic she was? Super ecstatic, where I was able to teach my team that not only can you mess up, right, and drop the ball potentially, accidents happen, but it's how you respond to those accidents. And so we got a 5 star review from that. So again, it's separating yourself, giving a shit, right? But then being a great leader and showing your team by leading by example.
Now I asked you what is the customer's experience, right, with the HVAC business. Now, what is the customer's experience with the consulting and training side?
Absolutely. So in the last 5 years of doing this, my goal is to retain their ROI while on site. So it's not cheap to get me out. I'm $10,000 a day, 3 day on site's $30,000. So I'm thriving for anywhere between 80 to $120,000 to make sure that they get their return on investment within 3 days. So to answer your question, our average that we do within 3 days is 83,000. So they do get their ROI. By any means, if I don't exceed their expectations, and this is a conversation that I have prior to going out to those on sites, I hyper focus on not meeting, but exceeding. Okay. And if I only exceed, not meet your expectations, I have them hold the last five or $10,000. And they don't give me that till the last day. And by them giving me that before I jump on my plane, that's verifying that you did what you were supposed to do. And the 6 years of doing this, I've never not received that last additional on that day. And typically it comes with the re-signing too, which because they get their ROI, they see the value of everything, right? And the way that the trainings work is we do 2 hours morning training and then we get in the trenches and we do ride-alongs with the team. And I write up about a 14, 15-page evaluation of the good, the bad, the ugly of every single day and a roadmap of what we need to do with those individuals that I train to get them to where you need them to be to match where your numbers are or where your numbers need to be, right? So really dissecting those things. Um, Also making sure that accountability when we're out there is big because a lot of trainers, once they go on site, the accountability goes away, the excitement goes away, the numbers go away. Okay. So I'm also talking about accountability to keep the momentum going because at the end of the day, the business owner is really busy. Okay. They're hyper focused on growth, business, meeting different people. And so I take on those responsibilities, or my team also takes on those responsibilities of tracking numbers, making sure that we're having weekly trainings, monthly accountabilities, or sorry, weekly trainings, weekly accountabilities, and then monthly on-sites. And again, those are much larger packages. But to answer your question, my goal is to hyper focus on making sure that they get their ROI while on site.
Amazing. Jason, which part of which business do you focus on more at the moment?
Um, I would say I am more hyper focused and not because it's just what my schedule is like right now, is the training. And the reason why is because my schedule is always 8 months booked out. So as we're transitioning into 2027, right, I'll be focusing more on royalty. But then also think of that the growth of royalty when my hyper focus has been on HVAC Masters of the Hustle and what we've been able to do within the last year. What are we
Hmm.
able to do when I pull back a little bit on the on-sites and everything?
Yeah. So you will be pulling back on it for sure.
Absolutely. Um, I'm next year, I'm going from, like I said, I go from 150 days. Next year, I'm probably cutting it down half, 75. And the hard thing is for a lot of your listeners or even my listeners, I'm in such high demand. A lot of people want me out there, but the people that have been on my package, they get first dibs for next year. So
Mm,
if my schedule could be booked January 1 once I open it up, right? So I mean that's the hard thing is I am cutting it down 50%, but then I also am growing something special within my market. So
so then what do you think is the next step for that side?
the side of the training.
Yeah.
So the next side of the training is I have the opportunity, which I'm going to be joining a group called EGIA. And so EGIA is a massive training corporation group. And I've had the pleasure to create such a great relationship with them the last year that they are offering me a contract rolling into the upcoming year. And I'm doing multiple speaking events for them and everything like that. So I would say what's up to come is I'm going to be on a training platform that's much bigger than anything that I could personally create, which is going to create a more bigger impact. But it's also going to allow me to train less on the road because it's a lot of virtual training. So I'm extremely blessed to be a part of EGIA and what they have to offer.
Amazing. Let's step back real quick. I want to go back to the HVAC business, royalty. With you guys scaling so quickly, what is the single biggest bottleneck you can identify at the moment?
Being on the road as much as I am to still, because I'm really hyper focused on culture and great culture, and keeping my culture because as we understand, one bad fruit could cause what? Everything else to spoil, right? So that's what I really try to hyper focus on is right now, as much as I am on the road, how do I keep my culture good? But then culture also goes into the customer experience, right? So if I could treat my people good, they'll treat my people good. And one thing that makes us different than any company that I know of is I feed my people. And so I have 14 employees. They get lunch every single day. All my office staff, they have a fully stocked fridge with anything and everything you could think of from energy drinks, Gatorade, water, juices, pizza bites. I mean, we got air fryers, everything. They don't have to spend money on food if they're here working. All my installers that are in the field installing and my technicians, they get food delivered to them on site around lunchtime wherever they're at. And that's through DoorDash or one of my office personals or my parts runner going to the job site and personally handing them lunch. And it's not that and we make special order on lunches. It's not like, hey, we're gonna go get everyone $5 hot and ready's today. It's no, we call that individual and we say, hey, we're gonna be dropping off lunch probably around 1 o'clock today. What would you like today? And they're giving us what that personal order is. So again, taking control of your people, treating them right, and really giving us shit about their goals, right? And that's another thing. A bit as business owners and a national trainer, I get to see a lot of business owners bark orders about what they want to accomplish and what their goals and mission is for the company. But on the flip side, when's the last time as a business owner you understood what your team wanted to achieve, personal and business, right? And like I said earlier, putting those vision boards up and celebrating those wins. And that's one thing you see at our office is when you walk in, we got goal boards up, we're celebrating our wins, we're crossing them off the vision board. And again, as a leader, right? It's my job to make sure that I understand what those goals are so we could celebrate together.
Absolutely. Is there any cost wasted or time wasted that's not in plain sight?
We could on the royalty side, we could be a lot more efficient on parts. Being a newer company, you have to get yourself to the point where supply houses will allow you a cash flow or they'll allow in-house where they're in-housing your cage, right? So we're at the point where we're going to be in-house in our cage, all of our truck stock and everything like that. So I would say that would probably be our biggest chink in the armor right now is efficiency, waiting on parts on installs and potentially things that might be needing to be repaired on the job site right then and there. We still get it done same day, but I might have to go run to the parts house or something to grab something. So I'd say that would be the first and the biggest lack of our efficiency or our biggest issue right now.
Got it. Is there anything else, maybe? And if not, maybe on the consulting side?
Uh, Consulting side, the biggest thing is traveling. Being on the West Coast in California, right? I'll be in North Carolina next week doing it on site. So people see my energy on social media. And remember, California is 3 hours different than North Carolina. So when they start training at 7 in the morning, that's 4 a.m. my time. And then I'm getting up 2 a.m. my time to showered and everything. And I still got to bring the energy every single time, right? So I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is, when you're dealing with layovers and getting in town at 1 in the morning sometimes and only going off 3 or 4 hours of sleep, how do you still identify and pull out that beast inside of you every single time?
What's your criteria for delegating?
Running a process and being consistent with it. To delegate my time, um, I guess let's talk about delegating work and business, right? So to make sure that when I'm home, I'm home. Okay. There's a couple rules that I have. So one thing, and it's challenging as a business owner and a trainer especially, is putting this thing away. Every single night between the time of 5:30 to 8 o'clock, my kid's bedtime, this goes and my wife's phone goes in a lockbox. And the only way we check it is if it rings, and there's a couple different rings that we have on there that we know are emergency rings. So if those we hear, we'll answer. But other than that, it's out of sight, out of mind, and we're hyper focusing on our kids, our relationship, and building ourselves as individuals. And I think that is very powerful, but it's something that's hard to do.
That's good. I think a lot of people struggle with that unknowingly.
Absolutely. It's something that we started January of this year. It was our New Year's resolution, especially with as much as I travel, right? I just wanted when I'm home, I just needed to get the work off my mind. And if I have this attached to my hip, even if I'm not looking at it, maybe I feel it vibrate and I don't look at it. Where's my mindset? Who texts me? What's going on? What's happening? Something might be happening, right? So you have all these things and you're not hyper focused on what's in front of you. So once I found out that you put this away, it just makes everything 100% better. When you are as busy as traveling or entrepreneurship or a business owner or just work in general, right? Technicians in summertime are working 12, 14-hour days.
On the topic of efficiency, is there anything that feels inefficient or outdated in your HVAC business?
Not per se my HVAC business, because starting a year ago, we adapted with all the technology and AI advancements. So I'm a big believer in AI and where AI is going and the technology of AI. But I would have to say we are in a trade of old school still and adapting. I know I've seen a lot of adapting happen within the last year or two, but it's still, I think, old school in a lot of ways. Where, I mean, I was just talking to a company. I was in Lake Tahoe at a convention this week, and a lot of the companies are still pushing paper, right? Paper service invoices and that. And I'm like, man, you guys could run a lot more efficient. Like, you could use RP1 for outbounding, and instead of outbounding, a lot of people that I hear will have their employees outbounding. They'll make 200 calls, book 3 calls, which is a good, closing rate at that point. But, the efficiency of dialing, there's AI now that will dial and hang up for you. So it's a lot more efficient the way that things work. So I would say adapting to the technology and what's coming, because it's not going anywhere, right? And if you don't adapt, you're going to get left behind.
What's the biggest implementation or the best implementation you would say you've done to the business?
Picking the right CRM program,
Mm,
making sure, because I mean that's what runs your numbers, that's what runs your board, that's what runs your agenda, your emails, your email blast. Like, your CRM program is so important, and utilizing everything that the CRM program offers, right? Service Titan offers a lot of good things. House Call Pro offers a lot of good things. So whatever you're using, I would recommend both of those, depending on what size company you are. One might work better than the other, but also think long term.
yeah. Yeah, that is a huge one. That is,
Logo and branding, that's a big one too. Understand, like for myself, if you look at our company, right from the gates, we looked like a multi-million-dollar company. Why? Because I didn't cheap off on the branding, the logo, the truck wraps, the website design. Our website's AI generated and everything. Like, all that stuff is expensive, but doing it the right way the first time, right? If you don't do your truck logos and your wraps and everything right the first time, think about growth. Maybe 5 years, you're 10 trucks deep, right? 15 trucks deep. And all of a sudden you're like, man, our logo kind of sucks, or someone tells sucks, right? Maybe an employee, and then you have 15 trucks to rebrand and this to rebrand and new uniforms. It's like really hyper focus. If you are in the mindset of starting your own company, manifest and start writing that down. What does that logo look like? What do you want your trucks to look like? What does your ideal client look like? Male or female, age range, right? What's your marketing look like? Make a org chart, because your name's going to be on every single position until you could fulfill those positions. What it's going to take to hire, maybe your phone's ringing off the hook and you hate answering your phone like me. So what's it going to take to hire a high caliber CSR or dispatcher, right? So those are things you got to look at, manifest, and understand your numbers.
what KPIs does royalty focus on?
I focus on EBITDA. So once everything is set and done, so I have a good growth plan for royalty. I'm planning to sell it for acquisition in 5 years. So EBITDA is very important to me when I'm looking at my KPIs because I want everything within 18 to 22%. Now, right now we're holding, and I talk to companies and they're in single digit numbers. Okay. But when we're talking about, your net profit and everything like that, which is another form of EBITDA, what my royalty of where my roadmap is in 5 years, we're going to be at 20 million. I want to continue to be at that 18% EBITDA. And then my goal is to get 12 multiple. So if I could do that, that means that I could line up myself for about $41 million in 5 years. Now, again, that's thinking big, right? But there's no reason why you can't dream and manifest this to make it reality and make it happen. Because, again, running the 4 minute mile, it's who you surround yourself with. You talk to Leland Smith, the owner of Service Champions in Southern California. They're about a $400 million operation. You talk to King Goodrich, the owner of Gettle. He's a $500 million operation. You talk to Ishmael Valdez, the owner of NextGen. He sold his company for over 100 million in 7 years. So it's like, what's possible is only your own limited belief, or what's
Absolutely.
not possible is only your limited belief, right?
Yeah.
It's holding your back is yourself.
How does royalty find clients?
Find clients. So we do outbounding. So there's a couple things that we do. So first off, I talk about if you want to own your market, what do you got to do? You got to own one neighborhood at a time. You got to dominate one neighborhood at a time. So we have our truck wraps. Also, with our truck wraps, what we do is when I go to companies, sometimes they put cones out for like safety. But one thing that I was like, man, this would be a really good idea was put sandwich boards out. So what we do is we market the neighborhood when we're out there. My techs are out there for 2, 3 hours, right? Installers are out there for 8 hours, 10 hours, 2 days sometimes. They put billboards out there or sandwich boards that market, hey, when we're in the neighborhood, free estimates, your tune-ups are a certain discount as well. So take advantage while we're out here. And we get a lot of calls from that because it's a little bit different. We also do Mail Shark, which I highly recommend anyone out there. Mail Shark does a good job for mailing your mailers out. So we hit about 10,000 outbound mailers every single month. We also do RP1, which is outbound text messaging that we use as well for marketing. And then also just getting in front of your community. If you can't afford that, go do door knocking. Go set yourself apart than everyone else. Sweat equity. Go talk to the other high schools and ask if you could pull the high school floats for the homecomings coming up, right? School just started, football's up and going. How cool would it be, or how known would you be if you could talk to 3 high schools within a 30-mile radius and you're the individual and company that gets to pull their floats this year for high school or parades, right? All of a sudden they're looking at royalty, royalty, royalty. Man, what are all these royalty vans pulling all these floats? Man, they were at this high school last week. See, it's just a trademark of repetition.
Is there anything that keeps you up about either of the businesses?
The thing that keeps me up is making sure that I'm delivering 100% of myself every single day for individuals that need me. Being a true good human, that's something that's important. I'm very faith driven and faith based. So, really making sure that, again, I'm trying to live as pure as I can, as good as I can, and give all grace to the Lord Himself because the fact of He's shown up in my life in ways that I can't even imagine in the last year or two, even of passing on my daughter, right? Like that was a challenge. That was something that you had to accept as a parent, that no parent should accept. But at the end of the day, you can't ask why. You got to keep your faith, your tribe, everything good. But I mean, starting royalty, my overhead right now, a year into the business, is my break even is 135,000 monthly. That's my break even. So if I don't do that, right, that means we're behind. That means I'm losing money. So I'm also fortunate enough to also have the training because that also allowed me to set up royalty the right way by making sure that we have the right truck logos, like we were talking about, the website designs. If I didn't have that, it would be a lot harder because I'm able to funnel that money to help run the beast, right? So for those of you that are in a challenging spot right now within your company, find out what is it that you could do potentially to help feed your beast. I don't know what it is. That's what it is for me, but everyone's different, right?
Is there anything that's not performing as well as you'd like?
Indoor air quality. I'm a big believer of indoor air quality on houses, and I think my team does a really good job at presenting indoor air quality. But I think there's always a niche that you could always do better. Customer service, I always thrive that we could do better. Even though we do really good, there's always room for improvement. Understanding not to have the mindset that you're already perfect, right? That you can't learn from anyone. I could learn from anyone. I could learn from someone that's green entering the trades, right? So always keeping that open mindset that you're not better than the individual that you're in front of or in your community.
How are you guys incorporating feedback?
How am I?
How is Royalty incorporating feedback for the customers?
So we do our happy calls. So a technician, we get the Google reviews, but all of our dispatchers, once our technician leaves, 2 hours after, we make a phone call and we ask, hey, how was your experience with Royalty Heat and Air? The reason why we're calling, again, we thrive on white glove service and not meeting but exceeding your expectations. We just want to make sure that our Royalty technician, Dave, came out. He was wearing his floor savers. How was the introduction? Was he able to walk you around and explain everything in detail? Did he show you what his findings were? What would you rate him on a scale 1 through 10? Now, is there anything that you feel like he'd be able to do better next time to serve you better? Right? Those are things that we need to be, and we need to be open minded. As a business owner, you can't take offense. If someone calls pissed off because something went wrong, okay, let them vent, understand, hear what they're saying, and then respond in a graceful manner, right?
Jason, you have a magic wand to instantly improve one part of your business. What would it be?
If I had a wand and I could improve one thing, it would be to get the phones to ring more. And the reason why I say that is because being a new company, our phones ring, but they don't ring like a lot of other companies ring. Again, a lot of things that we're doing on marketing, right, is doing outbounding text messages. So those are answered by text messages. So we don't hear the phones ring. um are That's what I would say. Get the phones to ring more.
If they were to ring more, would Royalty be able to handle the influx?
Yeah. I don't overhire, but I set us up right now where based off the team of 14 that we have, our goal is 2.2 million. The team right now that we have, we can easily do 2.5 to 2.7.
Have you ever felt like, kind of want to skip over this question, but I'm still going to go over it because you guys are still fresh. Have you ever felt like the business was plateauing?
I did. I felt like I said, I'm very transparent. So when you look at, let me pull this picture up for you just real quick. So when you look at my CRM program, okay, I didn't know the numbers really because I wasn't on a good CRM program yet. And that's why we were talking about make sure that you line up with something good, right? So once you could start seeing what your numbers are, so back in March, January, February, March last year, the first quarter, I was like, man, how are we going to keep the momentum going from Christmas? And, we're hiring, we're spending money. And so when you didn't know what your numbers are, you felt like you were plateauing. But then once the numbers got brought to it, okay, so those are the numbers. So as you can see, our best month was actually April once we started the CRM. And then every single month from there has been growth, which our best month that was 175,000. We average roughly about 130 to about 140 right now, as you can see the other markers. But then look at this month in September. We actually are having our best month right now, even over summer. right now in September. So that right there to me, when you didn't also have Google account, I thought we were plateauing because no one knew who we were, right? You look up
Hmm.
HVAC near me or HVAC service, we were not existent. Who the fuck's royalty? You only knew us if you saw our trucks driving or anything like that. So that's also another thing that once we got the Google account going, well, how do I hyper focus on getting the Google reviews in and making sure our team's delivering that service? Just to let you all know, Google reviews are good, but if you could have your client add a picture attachment to it, it magnifies it 10 times. Okay. So a Google review, 5 stars is good, but if they attach a picture, damn, that just magnified it 10 times.
If you had unlimited resources, what's the first major change you would make?
I would probably bring on a more established accounting department, like a CFO,
Fractional?
because I think if you don't have the correct CFO, which right now we have accounting department, but again, my wife comes from banking. That's the department she runs is accounting for us, right? And payroll and everything. But I feel like if you have a CFO that understands more the logistics of the numbers and the future of everything and the money coming in and the money coming out and everything, it just allows things not to fall through cracks a little bit. And again, my team does a really good job. But if I did have an abundance amount of money right now, I would make sure that my accounting department and all the numbers are fucking just dialed in. And I would spend a lot of money in that and marketing.
What risk do you think your business faces in the next 1, 2, 3 years?
Growing too fast. I've already done it. The risk of having 135,000 break even every month on a year established company is absurd and crazy. So that's what I would say is to continue that.
Sticking about that is,
Wild, right?
yeah,
It's a lot of overhead.
well, 6 to 12 months from now for the business.
Next year, rolling into 2027, if we're a year out right now and the
Hmm.
holidays are right around the corner, um, I would like to have a team of 25 solid employees, so another 10 on the team within the year. That means another 6 trucks out there. I would also like to see our numbers at ending next year around 4 million, keeping the same EBITDA of 18%, and then really hyper focusing on allowing my team to go to more of the convention and events that I go to. Right now, I bring them, but I want to be able to be at the point where we're good, where I could close the doors and feel confident of closing the doors for 3 solid days and bring my whole entire team for growth.
How much would that cost, you think?
Right now,
Yeah.
let's see if I was to do a 3 day. Yeah, let's do the math real quick. So my daily number, $1,000 or more because my daily number is about 7,000. If I don't
Mm.
hit 7,000, that number doesn't go away. It goes to the next day. And I guess that's also something that your team has to understand is those calls don't go away. That revenue doesn't go away. You have to add it to the next day. And if you get behind, it gets stressful.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you would give to somebody just starting out?
To believe in yourself and understand that it's going to be a hard journey.
What advice would you give them on strategy?
To learn a process and stay consistent with it and don't take away from your process because as the urgency's there, like summer, some of you might have taken away from your process, which analogy that I use is I rip a piece of paper and then I throw it and it's like confetti. And I say all of a sudden shoulder season's here and our process is broken because we didn't have to check the refrigerant. We have to go in the attic and we took away, still sold. But then all of a sudden, September, October, November, and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, the urgency's gone. We got to create urgency and I have a broken process and I'm trying to piece it together. But then all of a sudden, what happens is it's not impossible, but it's hard. And then we start putting that strain and pressure on that homeowner and they feel it, right? You should never You should never be in the point where you're putting stress and strain on a homeowner.
What is the one thing you hope to be better at in business
Better
or will be?
communicator. I mean, myself as an individual, I always strive at being a good communicator, but always working on my communication skills and everything like that.
Is there probably a single big challenge that's holding you back from scaling or growing even faster?
Training,
So what's the strategy to overcome that next?
join EGIA and less training, more focus on, because I mean, right now you got to sell your training, right? Once you're part of EGIA, they got thousands and thousands of membership part of their platform that, I mean, they just fill it up for you.
Hey, Jason, I really appreciate you jumping on this call, brother. I won't take up any more of your time, but I really appreciate you jumping on this. And yeah, I'm sure somebody will take some great advice from this.
Absolutely. Well, hey, it was an absolute honor and pleasure to be a guest on the podcast for all your listeners out there. Go tackle it. You know, I always tell everyone you might be going through a difficult challenge right now. And when I'm speaking, I'll bring a piece of coal on stage with me and I'll say, hey, this coal represents what? Nothing until it's put under what? Pressure. So, whatever walk of life or pressure you're going through, don't use that as wasted example, but here's a diamond. Now's your year to shine. Okay. So that's what I want everyone to understand is if you're a piece of coal right now and you're going through some shit, understand that when you come out, even right now, you're going through pressure. Understand you're going to shine bright. And like that song, shine bright like a diamond, you know? If I could sing, I'd sing it, but y'all just understand that, you know, shine bright.
Jason Walker, everyone.
Take care.